Video 41 for Math Lesson 5.10, Reading Circle Graphs. I would like you to have your math journal and your geometry template while you watch this video. So if you do not have those items, please pause the video right now, get them, and then resume. Take a look at your geometry template. And most specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the percent circle. Now remember, there's two items that look like big circles. The one over here that's next to the half circle protractor is the full circle protractor. That's not the one we want to look at today. Today we want to take a look at that other one. It's a larger circle, and you can see it's labeled with percents, and we call it a percent circle. So let's take a look at that percent circle. And here I have a little closer-up view of it. Now, if you notice, when you look around the percent circle, there are 100 equally spaced marks around the circle. Okay, each of these little marks is 1. So there are 100 all the way around the circle. Now, you can see that they're kind of shaped like pieces of a pie, sort of where we get that name pie chart. And because there's one full circle divided into 100 little chunks, each chunk would be 1/100th of the area of that circle, or in other words, 1% of the circle, because the whole circle makes 100%. So each little tick is 1%. Now you'll notice if you take a look from 0 to 5% here, there's extra little marks. See those extra little marks? The half percents are marked here. Now that's if you have a situation where you need to do some really specific measuring. You can use these half marks in between. So like this one right here would be 0.5%. Okay, or 1.5%, 2%, 2.5%. So that's how those are marked. Now, in your journal, on page 153, you have some work to do with reading circle graphs, and you're going to need to use that percent circle on your geometry template. Let's take a look at the directions for reading circle graphs. For each piece of the graph, estimate what fraction and what percent of the whole circle it represents. Label the graph pieces with the estimates. Then write your measured percents in the graph legend. Okay, now before you get started at this, I want you to really think about what those directions just said. It told you first to estimate. Now it's a little bit confusing sometimes with all these lines, and so I'm going to show you here what they mean. They have a blank line and a blank line with percent by each section of the circle graphs. Okay, what you are supposed to do is estimate, so do not pick up that geometry template yet. We are not using the percent circle right now. Visually estimate what fraction of the circle is it and what percent of the circle would that be for each section. So if we take a look at this first one, this section right here, to me, obviously looks like half. So our estimate of the fraction would be 1/2, and what percent is half of the whole thing? Half of 100%. Right, 50%. Then I have to estimate this section over here. To me it looks like from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, which I know is 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is 1/3 of 60 minutes, right? So I would estimate 1/3 of the circle and an 1/3% of the 100% would be like 33 1/3%, but I'm just going to put 33%. Oh, that's not a very good 3. That's okay. And then I got to do this chunk here. Well, I said this was half and I said this was a third, which if I like to use a clock, so I'm thinking 30 minutes for this half, 20 minutes for this third. That leaves 10 minutes here. There are 6 10-minute chunks in an hour, so this 10-minute chunk would be 1/6. Now, what would I estimate? I'm not even exactly sure. I know, like, if it were 1/5, that would be like 20%. So it's probably a little bit less than that. I don't know. I'm going to guess 18. I'm going to estimate 18%. Okay, so I have made estimates for each section. And what you need to do is you need to do that for the other 3 circle graphs on the page. Just estimate first. Then, after you have estimated, you can actually take the percent circle and measure them. Now, when you measure them, it's kind of like measuring with a protractor. You have to be careful lining it up. You want to make sure that your 0 is at your starting point and that you're measuring from 0 on up. Don't measure backwards around your numbers or your numbers will get mixed up. Okay, so pay attention and measure carefully. This down here is the legend. They said for you to write your measured percents in the legend down here. So you're going to actually measure and put as close as you can to the exact percent on these lines. And do that for each of the graphs on this page. And we'll compare and check them tomorrow in class, and you can see how well you're doing at both estimating and measuring.